The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
The 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, 4 Beer Sports Talk, and a whole lot more on this episode number 333 of the Great Big Show on the September 18th, 2023. Tonight's show is brought to you by SeatGeek.com, the SeatGeek app. Use promo code 1420pod at SeatGeek.com today to save yourself $20 on your first purchase. Remember, we are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Go to bellyupsports.com for all their great articles. Lots going on in the sports world, so catch up on everything at bellyupsports.com. And remember, and thank you very much for everybody who listens to our show on a daily basis, and make sure you subscribe and listen and like and all that other stuff throughout the your work week as things go by, as we're getting into the fall days. Dave, you oh man, I was driving down your avenue the other day on Saturday, I think it was. I was like 9 in the morning. I was going to the ball field and I took a little detour, and then later on that night, I was driving back down that same street, and just the change of the colors of the leaves in the 12 hours or so that I was away, I just wanted to hang myself from one of those trees. I hate this time of year. I hate it.
Actually, I don't hate it. This, like we've mentioned, this summer was so punishingly hot. The fact that the nights are cooling off and football's here and stuff. So I'm not gonna besmirch this time of year right now. The weather's nice, the mornings are cool. I'm actually digging fall this year.
It's the raking of the leaves and the cleaning up and the stuff and the things. I know you just let them blow into your neighbor's yard, which is, we got to probably have a discussion about that one of these years, but it's no, just this how the pumpkin spice blah and the sweaters and the pants and the stuff, and I hate it. I hate it.
Playoff baseball is just around the corner.
Yeah,
we got football all over the place. Oh man, I was lucky enough to attend college football this weekend. It was like, I'm not gonna be besmirched this time of year, man.
How was your weekend? How did it go?
Weekend was great. Went to it was boys' weekend down in Montana. We had piggyback. We had smoked meat and had too many beers on Friday night. Saturday we went for breakfast, hung out, just did a lot of fuck all. Then went to Montana Grizzlies football game on Saturday night, and it was a blast. It was they set an attendance record that night.
28,000.
27. It's 26,993, something like that. It was.
No, that's cool. It's a smaller stadium, obviously, a smaller school, but it's really cool. I've yet to go there, but I watch a lot of stuff that you guys talk about, and I catch up on stuff, and the following that they get down there in Montana. We talked about a lot of how those every town supports their schools, whether they're big or small, and everything else. It's remarkable to watch that thing and how it grows, especially with football and a little bit in basketball, but like with football, how big it is for every school throughout the states. It's unbelievable the following that it gets.
It was fun, and because there's no parking on site, so it's about a 10-15 minute walk from where we found a parking spot. But you're walking with the masses, right? It's fun that way. You get to the stadium, that's where all your tailgaters go. It was a night game, which is a rarity for Montana, and you could tell that a bunch of people did a little bit of day drinking.
They did a little drinking throughout the day, got up and watched college game day, and just kept her going right on through.
There was a couple folks, I came outside for halftime because you can't drink in the stadium. And there was more than one member of the student body that was being tended to.
There was one. I went to a Notre Dame USC game in 2017 or 18. It doesn't much matter when it was, but it was the night game. So it was a 7:30 start. No, it's a 6 o'clock start in Pacific time zone toward 8 o'clock start, or 9 o'clock start, I guess it would have been in the East Coast. But anyway, so people started tailgating quite early, right, and getting going. 'Cause game day was there that day, the whole bit. And by about 4 o'clock the Pacific time, Man, there was a lot of kids who weren't getting in that stadium. There was no way. There was actually one time we were standing in line, and all the outhouses had lined up there and standing in line, and this one kid went in, and the outhouse started shaking because he was violently vomiting. It was like, holy Christ, it wasn't good. So his buddy actually went in, and because he didn't even lock the door, his buddy went in and saved him because it wasn't good. So yeah, you get those kids who aren't even of age, and like they're 18, 19 years old, and they find themselves a couple boxes of beer at 9 a.m. and keep on going through it. It's a funny sight, but it's just one of those things. Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of those things. But like it was the first college game for all of my friends there. So it was fun. We had a great time. The 2-hour drive's a bit of a drag, but what do you do? It's the price you got to pay. Apparently I had read too. That game was ESPN was carrying that game too that night on Saturday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Since we don't get ESPN here, I wouldn't have known that because I was running solo on Saturday night. Deanne had to go to a gala in town, so I gracefully declined and I stayed home watching all kinds of different football and sports. Which it's actually quite nice on a Saturday night to not actually do anything. It was good.
Yeah,
it was good.
I bet.
Yeah, earlier that Saturday, I kind of got thinking about you a little bit, like not about you, just the conversations we have to start our shows a couple times a week. And there was this guy who was at an establishment on Saturday there, couple of pops, whatever, and there was a guy playing pool by himself, and I kind of got intrigued with the whole thing and watching him play, and then I kind of got noticed that he was cheating, like he was going stripes and solids, and then. But he didn't hit the 8 ball, and I wanted to know, like, obviously you probably played pool by yourself a time or two. Did you cheat yourself when you were playing? Because like he missed the 8 ball, so it should have went back. Like I noticed, like I don't know the rules of billiards like to 100%, but I know to get by in a pub, right? This cat was cheating, playing himself.
I don't think he was cheating. I think he was practicing, right?
No, because he was alternating which balls he was going for and everything else. Like it was. He was playing with the voice in his head against him. Like it was like I was going to question him, like, what, you're fucing cheating, man.
But he had money on stripes, you're thinking then maybe?
Must have been. I don't know.
and he didn't want to screw up the ledger or something like that.
I don't know. It's like when guys play golf by themselves or even golf with buddies that you're kind of keeping score and they cheat. Like, what's the fucking point?
Yeah. Like take a foot wedge, but then let everybody know. Like it's
Well, that's why I like playing golf with Moose Hildebrand there. Eh? Hit it till you're happy. We don't even keep score when we play in Fort McLeod. Eh? Whatever. It's more of a social event than anything else. Anyways, Dave, the NFL season got carried on to week 2. 2 games going right now. They're not very good football games. We won't talk about that until probably on Thursday. And because fan of the van, Jim Plotner's, his Pittsburgh Steelers are putting up a stinker tonight. Once again, they're just not that good. But there's a lot of 0-2 teams happening right now. In the last 4 years, only one 0-2 team has made the playoffs. That was last year's Cincinnati Bengals. They find themselves in the same situation this year once again. You got New England, Chicago, Arizona, Minnesota, Houston, Denver, your Denver Broncos, Cincinnati once again. 0-2, it shouldn't. With 15 games left, you shouldn't be thinking, oh, well, we're fine. But man, oh man, you go down 0-2, and you got to look ahead of your schedule and go, oh shit, we might be 1-3, 1-4. Things to go by 0-5. Who we got to play? 0-2 is a pretty daunting task. It's crazy how that stat came out. I just saw the other day that only one team the last 4 years made the playoffs. 0-2 is almost a death sentence.
We're not quite death sentence there, but it definitely puts you up against it, especially teams like Cincy. They've lost both their games in division, so that's even a bigger hill to climb. Losing to the Browns and now to the Ravens. That one's they're up against it. My Broncos, like
losing to at home.
Losing 2 at home against 2 teams that they should have won. They should have won them both. The game yesterday was the late game, so I was listening to it on the radio until we got into Canada, and then I could start streaming it. And fuck Russell Wilson. Fuck that guy. He
Well,
drives me nuts. I can't stand. I never liked him as a shit hawk. I gave him the benefit of the doubt. Now 2 games into the Sean Payton era, I have serious questions if that guy can ever be a capable quarterback again.
well, we've talked about that a time or two before, but we'll get that in half a second because I think that there's bigger issues there with Sean Payton. I think it's a battle of a couple of egos there that one's going to win out, one's not, and I think that's a bigger problem there because even after, like, we'll talk about right now, like after the game last night, Sean Payton was baiting. I wouldn't say bad mouthing, but he wasn't talking good about his quarterback. I was saying things were sloppy, things have to go quicker, things have to do this, blah blah blah. Pointing fingers is fine. It's fine, but the way Sean Payton, we talked about last week a little bit. The way Sean Payton cock the walk and walking like a peacock and everything else, how he was the greatest coach since fucking Don Shula or whoever for Vince Lombardi, and now you're 0-2, dude. Like it's actually you're 0-2, and you're supposed to be this great coach, and you're supposed to come in and change this culture. Well, you didn't. You did, and you've had it. You've had a lot of time, and I wouldn't care. Like I wouldn't care. Like I don't care that it's your team, and I wouldn't care that if a team's 0-2, because there's a lot of teams that are 0-2, right? There's going to be a coach going to lose their job probably the next 3 to 4 weeks. That's the way the NFL works. But the way Peyton was popping off a few weeks back about the other coaches, and now he's 0-2. Who the fuck are you? Really?
Well, I'm kind of on his team right now. Like I'm all right with that. Game 1, they missed field goal and a missed extra point. They should have won that game. Yesterday, when I was when I was able to stream, like they jumped to a 21-3 lead, and then all of a sudden, couple plays into the third quarter, it's now it's 24-21 for fucking the Commodores. That's absolute fucking bullshit. It's bullshit. You got to D up. You got to figure it out. And then when they're when they're playing hurry up in the end, fucking Russell Wilson's walking around and taking the play clock down to the final 10 seconds again. Like I can't fucking stand Russell Wilson anymore. He's the fucking reason. He's the reason. Play like you want to win. And again, he's playing like he's trying to prove a fucking point here. Russell Wilson can fucking eat my snatch.
Well, that's the thing about Wilson and Peyton is it's like, okay, who's gonna win this battle of fucking battle of wills? Like eventually, like the ownership's gonna step in and say, okay, we got this guy for this many years, not guaranteed. We got this new coach, and he's been quasi successful over the years. What do you NFL, man? Like it's tough because they're not there's no guaranteed contracts. Like what do you do? Like it's a battle of wills right now, and I don't know who wins because 9 times out of 10 that the coach ends up being the one that walks because he make less money, and there's only X amount of quarterbacks are out there. Like you look at how few quarterbacks there are in the league, like or few quarterbacks that are available to other teams to go to. You look at the New York Jets who lost Rodgers last week. You think they would go and find somebody else, not have Zach the MILF Hunter Wilson going and getting somebody or being their starter? There's nobody else out there. Like who you got is who you got. That's why they pay these guys so much. And we talk about it a little bit here, is that there's just not that many good quarterbacks, and why they overpay these fucking guys is a mystery to me, because there isn't many good guys to go out and get there because there's not. Russell Wilson is one of the best 30 quarterbacks on the planet, or 32 or whatever it is, and he ain't that fucking good.
He ain't that fucking good anymore. I'll say that much.
Pete Carroll looks like a fucking genius right now, getting rid of that guy.
Oh, you bet, and fucking winning with that ham. Like it's a head scratcher. I don't get it how someone forgets to quarterback. I really don't get it.
Well, when your helmet's too small to get over your great big head, that doesn't help.
Yeah, and then it's going to be some tough love with the fucking dance caffeine cappuccino bar he was hosting for him and his posse up on the second floor with the coaching staff. Maybe he doesn't like hanging out in the locker room. I don't know it. Like the guy's ego is too big, and if he wants to go out like this and end his career, then fine, beat it, fuck, get lost. Go be a trophy husband for your wife, who I still don't know what fucking song she sings.
I don't know her name.
Recording star, like just because
What's
you
her
have
name?
an album. Selena
Selena's dead. Selena died like
Serena?
fucking 20 years ago, didn't she?
Sierra. I think it's
Sierra.
Sierra. I think it's Sierra. Yeah.
I don't know. I could. If she's not a Swift, if she's not Taylor Swift, I have no idea who she is. Yeah, I don't know. Like there's
Yeah,
other,
neither do I.
like an 0-2 thing for the Broncos. It's not insurmountable, but losing 2 at home that's a tough look. A team that on another team that lost 2 in a row. Minnesota were supposed to be better. They're down 2. Gold Kirky Cousins that doesn't quite got her, as everybody knows. He's the guy that got overpaid. You look at Cincinnati. That's the one that bothers me a little bit because Cincinnati, Joe Burrow, they did it last year. He got paid. Now he's hurt. Quad, like a calf injury, whatever. Who knows? It's probably minor. He'll come back and play Joe Cool the whole bit. But it's just I know you have to have a certain demeanor as a quarterback, and you have to be the leader, and you have to have a bit of a coolness to you and say, things are okay. But it's the guys that go, it's one of the, like with the show some emotion. Like when you're
What?
0-2, I think you need to show some emotion and say this is on me or whatever it is. And like Josh Allen, he backed up his it's not them, it's not me, it's them. Because he was like the same old shit we were talking about last week after their loss. And then now, like, he had himself a hell of a game yesterday and showed that he's one of the best quarterbacks in the game today. And he's making like whatever he's making. We shouldn't talk about that all the time, but that's just facts about the NFL and quarterbacks, is that the money thing is going to come out no matter what. And Allen showed that he was one of the best. And Joe Burrow, now you're 0-2 again.
Yeah, 0-2 again. Like, it's against pretty stiff competition. Like, I think the Browns are a decent team, and I think the Ravens are a decent team. And
Lamar
and
Jackson's right there, right? Like
he's one of the. I think he's one of the best.
top 5.
Yep. And the Browns, I don't. Their offensive line sucks shit. And I was lucky enough to watch the early games in the Bulldog yesterday. So I was able to watch 6 games at the exact same time. And
Nice.
and then so they had the graphic. You can't listen to it, but like they showed it how Joe Burrow, it's 2 seconds, 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds, 2.5 seconds. He gets rid of the ball. And he's still under pressure, is how bad that offensive line is.
Well, he got beat up something fierce last season. He's lucky to come out alive. We were wondering if he was going to make week 6 last season. I remember that.
You bet the last 2 years he's getting beat up. Like, and this is what I'm saying about how Cincinnati's such a trash organization. Kind of reminds me of Indy and Andrew Luck. You can have the best quarterback in the fucking universe, and if you're not going to protect it, what's the fucking point? It's buying a diamond ring and dragging it on a chain behind your car. Like, what's the fucking point of having a nice shining object if you're going to treat it like shit?
There it goes once again. They overpay a quarterback. Now you got to fill the holes with no money, right? I saw that they restructured Mahomes' contract earlier on today. I don't know what the details are of it, and whatever. Who cares? So he's going to be the highest paid guy starting next year for the next 4 years, and they're going to look at restructuring again in 4 years from then again. So he's going to get. I mean, he's rich beyond belief, anyways. But they restructure him to make sure he's the highest paid player, and it's like 58 or 59 million bucks a year, the way it's all going to pan out. Like, Jesus fuck me, man.
Yeah, it's a ton of dough, and it really fucks with the pay schedule grade. It's almost like you and I talked about in hockey. They should maybe do that in football and just say, okay, we're gonna pull the salary cap for your highest paid player.
Well, and we talk about that, like make sure, like when you say the franchise player, that's the franchise player. Pay him as much as you want.
As much as you want.
Here you go, like the actual franchise player, not we're going to franchise him, but the franchise guy, if you want to give him 130 million bucks, give him 130 million bucks. Whatever.
Yeah. And then work out and then now you got whatever 110 million for the rest of your team. And so but then again, like, figure it out, because San Fran fucking traded away for a first overall draft pick at quarterback that is now third string for the Dallas Cowboys, and they're doing quite all right with Dallas, Mr. Irrelevant, good. Right?
Dallas looks pretty good, actually. Like, it's the division, everything else, but Jesus, man, they look pretty good.
Yeah, They're an offensive team. They're I don't know what their schedule is. I can't think it's going to be easier than last year's, but as it's sitting right now, that looks like a fairly formidable team. The Eagles and the NFC East are going to have their hands full taking
The
care of
old
that
one
team.
stars might be onto something for once in the first time in a long time. I was watching like the game that was on yesterday. Later on, like I wasn't, I was just flipping around, and the Giants came back and they beat the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray led the Arizona Cardinals, and Danny Dimes and the whole bit. The two teams that aren't really going anywhere, I don't think, but um, the Giants came back and won a football game that they probably should have won by a lot. And when you're supposed to be better than you are, when you win a game, is that all that matters, or do you go, "Fuck, we should have won that game by a lot"? Okay, do it as a fan first. Like you're happy you won, but you go, "Oh Jesus," and then do it as the general manager, coaching staff. Like, what are your thoughts on a team that's for all everything you read? The Arizona doesn't want to do a bunch of winning this year, hoping to get Caleb Williams out of USC if he decides to go. But like, they don't want to win.
I don't think that was that bad. Well, no, it was like the first half was awful.
They were down
Like, it
20
was,
to nothing again. Like they so
yeah, it
to
was.
start their season, they were down 60 to nothing with four
Yes,
first downs, whatever it was. Yeah.
yeah, and after 6 quarters of play,
Yeah.
it was ridiculous, and it was gut check time, and then you're happy they came back, and that's a huge half of football for the Giants to say, like, we're not this shitty, smarten the fuck up, and let's do something about it. And they did something about it. So it shows you, they have pride and they haven't quit. I get it, it's game two. If you're quitting on your coaching game two, you got bigger problems than that. But as a fan, I'm not going to say overjoyed, but a win's a win, and they didn't quit, and they put together a hell of a second half of football to come back, because coming back ain't that easy. You got to do it with both your defense and your offense, and that's what they did, and they came back. So that's good, and I would take heart in the fact that I get it. It was against Arizona, but your team didn't quit and came back, and now we can kind of start fresh. Okay, we're 1-1 right now. We haven't come near to playing a complete game of football yet, and if we can put it all together, then we do have a chance to be competitive this season.
Like you got to think that being a coach in the NFL or in college football, because it's such a short season, right? There's 17 games and see you later. College is 13 or 12 or whatever it is, then you're done. And yet you can't dwell on the negative, right? As hard as that is to not dwell on the negative aspects of anything in life, you have to say, okay, this is positive, because if you keep looking back, you got to say, okay, we did this right, did this right, and we won. And then put everything behind you, because next week's a new week. But you have to somehow find that happy medium somewhere where you go, fuck, that guy, he fucking stinks, and he doesn't get it. But we need him to be good next week. Can you work? It would be an interesting night, because a hockey season, 80 some games, and a baseball season, 162, and you're going to have a day where you go 0 for 4. You just are, right? The pitcher's just better than you that day, or whatever might happen. But for football, they have to go in week in, week out with a new outlook on life and a new hope that they can put it together. Because you can put it together a 3-game streak if you're supposed to, and if you're sometimes your best talent will win some football games, right?
Yeah, there's just so many moving parts that have to happen in football on so many different plays. Like and no matter how good you play on your side of the ball, if your defense is going to start shitting the bed, then that puts a lot of pressure on the other side of the ball. It's I would love to have been there when Sable, is that the Giants head coach? Sala? It doesn't matter. But I imagine it got pretty blue in there at halftime at the Giants game. Like what he said to his team, they're on the road, because how do you motivate these guys that are
She
just
wouldn't have
coming
been
up
even
and
allowed on
just say,
Cinemax back in the day, I don't think, when it was going on. It would have
holy,
been ugly, yeah. Super
earmuffs,
Channel
yeah.
late at night, Super Channel after dark, or whatever it was back in the 80s. Or yeah, it's crazy. Dave, who in your mind has got to be given back their game check for their performance this week?
And like I say, I was able to watch. It was a heavy slate in the 11 o'clock window there, so I wasn't even. I had all those games in front of me, but I was kind of paying attention to one or two more than the others. One of my buddies is a Chicago Bears fan, and so I was kind of watching that game with him a little
Yeah,
bit.
Deanne's brother's a huge Bears fan. Yeah,
I don't know if you watch any of the game, but I can do what Justin Fields did in that game. He was fucking awful.
James is coming here on Wednesday, so I'm gonna have a chat with him about that. And try to...
Holy cow! It's like this is third year now, and like towards the end, it was like he's turning the corner, he's figuring shit out. He don't have fuck all figured out. He has like it's the very opposite of Joe Burrow. Like with 2 seconds, that guy had fucking 5, 6, 7 seconds to throw the ball, and he still took sacks, and he still took sacks. And it was like
7, I think it was yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, but like he didn't throw the ball away. Throw like it's QB 101. The fuck are you doing? And then with the game in the balance, the Bears were starting on their 5-yard line or something like that. They're playing against Tampa Bay, and he threw one of the worst fucking interceptions I've ever seen. I don't know if you saw it on the lowlights or whatever, but it was Justin Fields. Give your game check back because you lost
your
that
game
game.
check.
It was so bad. It was so bad. I couldn't believe like a guy with his third year in the league could play that fucking bad at quarterback. It was awful.
I'm going to take a different route here, and I try not to talk down to about officials, because I am one at a different level, obviously, and it's a tough job. But I'm going to say the officials yesterday in a few games got to give back their game checks, specifically at the end of the Broncos game yesterday, with a game that they shouldn't have been in that situation. The Hail Mary that worked for them to get to the 2-point conversion, that was a bit of a disaster. That should have been pass interference, I think. And then there was a holding call in the Seattle-Detroit game that was just a blatant miss. And it's tough because there's a spirit of the game and time to call penalties, but you should always call a penalty, because if a penalty doesn't get called, it's going to affect the outcome of a game. And yesterday, yes, it's only week 2, but there's only 17 games, and there was a few games yesterday where the officials at the end of games, especially if you miss a call in the first quarter, whatever, it happens. Like it does. It's like missing a pitch in the first, whatever, right? But there was a few situations yesterday late in games where the officials absolutely blew calls, didn't call them, lost their whistles, whatever it might be, put the flags in their pockets, didn't let them out. So to me, yesterday's game day officials, they need to give back their game checks.
Thank you for saying that. Are we talking about the Broncos 2-point conversion?
Yeah.
Like the Commodores defenders were holding 3 guys simultaneously.
Yeah. And then there's Seattle, Detroit one. Yeah, there was.
Yeah. It's just like, what the hell? And I think blaming officials a poor man's thing, and occasionally it is egregious.
Don't leave it in the officials' hands to get to that point.
But on the flip side, yeah, like Denver was even lucky to be in that position to go for the 2-point, and we already know how I feel about the quarterback play in that game. The officials on that 2-point conversion to go for the tie. I saw 3 holdings. I saw 3 defensive holdings on the exact same thing.
I'm not a Broncos apologist by any means, and I was watching that and I said, "That's a penalty. That's a penalty. That's a penalty." Like I know enough football rules to be dangerous.
That you're not allowed to be holding people.
Right. I know that you can't do that, and you can't do that, and you can't do that.
Yeah. So I'm glad you brought that up, because I was thinking about doing that, but like I say, I don't. Yeah, I don't like blaming officials when.
But those there was some blatant ones yesterday that you go, holy Christ, it's gonna be a long year for some of these referees and linesmen or whatever the fuck they're called.
Yeah.
Field judge and all of it, right?
Back judge, line judge, front judge, back judge, umpire.
That guy, and the other guy. So that's the 2. At what point is there going to be an investigation into the betting scandal that's going to the ethics committee or whatever that's going down in Los Angeles with the Rams and the 49ers game yesterday when for some unknown reason a field goal was kicked with no time left in the clock to get to the spread to make sure that Vegas kept their money, and all the gamblers across the land, they all lost when they bet on that game. There was zero reason, Dave, zero reason to kick that field goal to lose by 7. Zero. If you're going to want to get the game closer to make it look good on the stats page, go for a touchdown late and then end the game. Zero reason other than the spread. And you will never convince me the only reason, because someone had some money on that somewhere in NFL land. That one's got to be looked at a little bit.
That's as soon as I saw that field kick being kicked with whatever it was 4 seconds left in the game. And a meaningless 3 points, and I get it. And then the first thing I went and looked at the spread, and like I had a giggle. What I think is just like, why not? Right? Practice. It's just one more practicing. Okay, go.
That field goal kicker practices fucking all year long by himself.
That's an answer.
It was a chip shot. Who cares?
No, it wasn't a chip shot. It was like a 43-yarder or something like that. But it is a little funny because 9 times out of 10, when you're down by 7, they'll just kneel on the ball or something.
And
like
it's
that,
over.
And
two scores, you ain't coming back.
Right. Well, with 0 seconds on the clock,
game's
right?
over.
The game was over. The game was over.
Like maybe whoever the kicker is, Adam Vinatieri, the fucking third or whatever his name is, maybe his parents were in the stands, wanted to see him kick one for the first time in his NFL career. I don't know. It just reeked of high heaven on that one, man. It's a bad look.
I don't think it's a bad look. I'm all for it. Like, why can't they kick it? Why not?
If gambling wasn't so huge on Sundays, well, it's huge all the time now with apps and everything else. And the spread wasn't what it was, we wouldn't be talking about it. But the exact number to get to that number, it reeks. It fucking reeks.
Maybe McVay doesn't think gambling should be in the game, so he did it to fuck everybody over. I don't know. We're just talking.
Well, speculation, obviously. That's what
podcast
is supposed to be. Speculation. Someone grabs onto our shit, throw enough shit in the wall, something bound to stick, right? So one of those things. But yeah, it reeks of high heaven. Dave, the first 2 weeks of the football, it's the second week, but before the season started, I had fuck this team. I had the Chiefs my week 1 because of Travis Kelce. I think he's a nozzle. And now apparently he is dating Taylor Swift from rumors that have been going about. And last week I had the Cincinnati Bengals with the Joe Burrow contract coming out and everything else. So that was my fuck that team. This week, I am going to take another run at an 0-2 team to fuck that team with the Los Angeles Chargers. 0-2, overpaid a quarterback. Is not his fault whatsoever, but they overpaid a guy. The team stinks. But Herbert, you got to win games and everything else. To me, my newest fuck that team is fuck the Chargers. Probably should have won a game or two already, and they're not that good. And they're over quarterback. Fuck the Chargers.
They're so soft. They're so soft. Like how do you, like they can't protect a lead to save their life, and what do you do? I think this is now the coach, right? I don't.
Well, the rumor has it Staley might not have an office tomorrow, kind of deal, right? So he might be out of a job already. So it could be his, but you know what? But it's one of those things like. You overpay these guys, and it's all now we have 3. Like it's funny, like the 3 fuck that teams are paying their quarterbacks $45 million a piece, right? So fuck them, and fuck them. So this week it's me. It's fuck the Chargers.
Okay, they're on the list. I don't have anyone really to add to the list. I always hate the Seahawks, and I'd like to say fuck the Seahawks, but I know that they're going to drive me nuts another game because I think officiating helped them out in their win against the Lions. But also, too, the Lions, they're fucking so soft defensively. They're awful. Like that second half where they're letting Seattle just do anything they want. They got to figure shit out if they want to be taken seriously as any kind of contender. Like they got lucky in week 1. they should be 0-2 because Kadarius Toney gifted them that, put a bow on that that week 1 win for him.
He's got hands like me and you.
Yeah, exactly. And then, well, at least I'd drop it to the ground. I think, like that's what I would like to think.
That's one thing I will never understand. Like your Broncos. I'm surprised you weren't as hard on your Broncos as I thought. I thought you were gonna be a lot harder on them today than you were. But one thing I will never understand about NFL players, and I'd never played one game of football in my life, not one, not even like obviously schoolyard stuff I played, but when that Hail Mary goes up, why the defensive players just knock the fucking thing to the ground? Don't try to catch it. Don't tip it. Just throw it to the ground. It's all you have to do, and then the play's over.
Or even just let the guy in front of you catch it and drag him to the ground because there were zeros on the clock. Yeah.
Everything when the Hail Mary works, which is on a rare occasion, they're doing it wrong.
Yes,
the defense is doing it so wrong, and like us middle-aged white guys up here in Canada, like that's fucking stupid, man. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
We have zero football experience in our lives.
That got tipped 3 times, and Johnny on the spot.
Bing, bing.
Yep. And then the refs maybe felt bad, just saying like, they should have knocked that down. Let's just ignore the pass interference on that 2-point conversion. Like, I don't know.
Out of the 6 or 7 teams, I think or 8 teams, sorry, that I mentioned that are 0-2 right now. The 2 games going tonight right now. Who's going to be, Dave, the one that's going to have the for the longest part of the season, do you think?
So we got the Broncos and the
Chicago, Arizona, Minnesota, Houston, Denver, Cincinnati, and New England.
Houston and Chicago are bad fucking teams. They are terrible.
Man, there was a point last year where people were like, Justin Fields he's really good. I remember it was Thanksgiving last year when Peter and James came, the Michaelopoulos brothers or brothers.
Yeah, he's coming around. He
looks all right.
Showing growth. He's starting to figure it out. But like honestly, that shit he pulled on Saturday or Sunday morning on that early game, I was like, I thought he was good, Bill. And he was doing things, but that is fucking terrible. He was disgusted as a Bears fan. He was downright livid of that fucking play that it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing for him to be a Bears fan.
Billiot,
yeah.
Billiot.
Yeah, Billiot's good people, but I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the Bears are awful. Arizona's awful. I think my Broncos could be 2-0 if they had a quarterback.
They'll win a game before Chicago will.
I would think so, but I don't have the schedules in front of me. But yeah, like I paid attention to that Chicago game. I don't think I'll do it again this year. They were fucking terrible.
I have to in about 2 weeks now. I'll be in the hat for there's something going on
Thanksgiving
there.
or something.
Then there's Thanksgiving we're gonna do with my mom's house, and then there's stuff going on. But yeah, there's things.
And also Chicago, like put away those orange uniforms with the orange helmets. It's awful. I hate it. Like wear that orange jersey if you want, but then keep that navy hat because that's a gross look.
There's some things that I get it. I get why they do it for it sells jerseys and it makes money, blah blah blah. But there's some things like jerseys and helmets and hats, especially in football, because there's only 8 home games or 9 road, whatever it is, for year to year. Tradition means a lot to me. Like USC has the same jerseys, road and away, blah, and that's it, right? And it's done. It's done. And most and Alabama's the same way, and Auburn's the same way. But I hate that these teams do. I can't stand the 3rd and 4th and 5th jerseys that most of these teams have. I actually as a sports like old guy, I guess, get off my lawn. I actually hate it. I hate it.
I don't necessarily hate it, but make it good. Like Chicago Bears don't belong in orange. They just simply don't. Like it's not a dominant color, it's their trim color. And then like to change that helmet to orange, it's awful. And like, when they do these color rush days in games, like it's 9 times out of 10, they're fucking ugly.
Yeah.
And the good teams don't. Like I do know, like, the Broncos a couple years before they won their Super Bowls with John, that that's when they got this redesign. And I kind of dig the colors, and I think it's kind of a sharp jersey. But like some jerseys are just like when the Rams go all yellow, and that one time like the Jaguars wear some bad fucking jerseys too, like with the black and the black to gold helmets.
Yeah, those are dumb.
Like
it should be a solid helmet color. That's it.
Yeah, something. Because I don't dig on.
It's not like you're selling helmets in the fucking souvenir stand,
right?
Like I get the jersey thing and the hats. I get it, but it's not like you're selling fucking helmets to people.
Yeah, you're selling 1,000 jerseys for every one helmet you're selling. No,
you're not selling helmets.
So every now and then you see them. So I don't know.
I guess it's an odd thing. Anyways, that's our week in review for the NFL this week. It's going to be it's a different season, but there's our fuck that team and give back your game check. Do that every week. Make sure you guys comment on the show notes wherever you're listening to the podcast, or on our social media accounts, because we like hearing what who your fuck that team and who your give back your game check guy would be. Because it's always a good laugh. We hear from people who listen to the show. So, anyways, the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, 4 Beer Sports Talk, and a whole lot more. This segment's brought to you by SeatGeek.com and the SeatGeek app. Use promo code 1420pod at SeatGeek.com today.
You just listened to the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast. 4 Beer with Sports Talk and a whole lot more. We are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Let's get into it.